Welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Comfort Amadu. The headlines. National Drug Law Enforcement Agency decries high prevalence of drug abuse in Ogun State. ECOWAS resolves to implement elimination of roaming charges levied by some member states. Revenue sharing formula, revenue mobilization allocation and fiscal meets National Board for Technical Education Commission. And we begin with health matters. Towards having a functional and efficient healthcare service delivery in the country, the Nigerian Medical Association and the Association of Resident Doctors are calling on government to provide standard infrastructure facilities and ensure the allowances are paid to bring an end to the nationwide strike. Sarafina Okun Umukwe has an update on this report.
The need to work and improve on the primary healthcare system tops agenda as Nigerian Medical Association holds its annual general meeting amidst nationwide strike embarked upon by resident doctors. Dr. Roland Aigbovo, who is the immediate past president, Association of Resident Doctors FCT chapter, and the treasurer Nigerian Medical Association say the timeline given to government has not been met towards improving the Nigerian healthcare system.
We realize that in the FCT, so many people are unable to afford, especially those who are in the lower social strata. They are unable to afford the kind of health care, and the primary health care system, which should be what they should get to, is not as functional as we would want it to be for obvious reasons. One is infrastructural decay, which is more like what happens everywhere.
On the review of hazard allowances, and so harped on the needs to strengthen primary healthcare system.
We are not very insensitive. We are not oblivious of the fact that the economy is in a crunch. But we would like government to really walk the talk.
NTA News crew visited the National Hospital, Abuja, where this patient, Binta, says she was unattended to.
How can we come to the hospital on an appointment and not see a doctor? We are not really okay with what is happening with the healthcare system in Nigeria.
The resident doctors say once the minimum requirements are met, the strike will be called off. Serafina Okun Umikwe, NTA News.
Did you know there's a vaccine that can prevent at least 1 million children from dying? This vaccine is refined naturally, making it unique and special. It also gives lifetime benefits to all that receive it, and the vaccine is breast milk. Yes, it is another breastfeeding week, and Basita Ikban tells us that this year's theme is protecting breastfeeding, a shared responsibility.
It's a super vaccine, it's a super food, it's also a smart investment.
It is good milk. It is the best food for a baby.
That sets the tone for this year's Breastfeeding Week, with reference to Article 24 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child to be Breastfed, about the advantages of breastfeeding. The convention stresses that breastfeeding is not the sole responsibility of the mother, but a shared responsibility. That is the focus of the celebration.
It's actually not easy. That 6 months is a long time, for a baby to be on a breast.
From my experience, that immediately after giving birth, you tend to have a kind of abdominal pain. And the moment you put your baby to breast, you notice that the cramp may increase, and you find out that the blood flow will be easy.
So, the rate of children exclusively breastfed for 6 months have increased from 17 to 29%. The Minister of Health representative said it is still below 50% of 2025 target.
It's important then for us to further advance the argument that breastfeeding is the best.
To achieve this target, the federal government at the celebration launched a national guideline on baby initiative in Nigeria for the survival of children and promotion of exclusive breastfeeding beyond 2 years. Basi Taipa, NTA News.
Now let's turn our attention to security reports as the Nigerian Army War College will be participating in a joint operations planning exercise in the Naval and Air Force War Colleges. This was contained in a message by Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya to the Army War College Second Symposium on the Nigerian Civil War. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
These are officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces and those from allied countries in a critical platform that seek to draw lessons from the Nigerian Civil War. Areas of interest include how to develop an effective logistics system that supports a proactive combat team in a dynamic security threat situation.
Logistics obtains in both peacetime, but especially so under operational conditions. It gives meaning to the tanks. All of these become useful and meaningful when there is efficient and effective logistics. Otherwise, these are but numbers.
This course also focuses on upscaled joint operations to address the current multifaceted security challenges.
Contemporary war fighting will remain joint and is not likely to change in the foreseeable future. Hence, any joint effort directed at preparing operational level officers to be aligned to this reality is commendable.
The essence is to study and teach the operational level activities of the war for better understanding of battlefield events and operational outcomes towards situating them in contemporary operating environments.
63 officers from Nigeria and 4 from allied countries are participating in the second edition of the Nigerian Civil War Symposium, organized by the Nigerian Army War College. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And still on security, the Imo State Police Command has arrested one Emmanuel Naji, an alleged IPOB member from Olu local government area of the state. A statement by the police public relations officer Michael Abatam indicates that on interrogation, the suspect gave useful information on the location of a hotel in Olu local government area used by members of the group for criminal activities, including attacks on police stations, as well as beheading of a young man. And subsequently, 26 suspects have been arrested, of which 7 are females. Other items including 1 AK-47 rifle, 5 pump-action rifles, 4 double-barrel locally made pistol, 8 live cartridges, a signboard with Biafra in signage, and among other items were recovered. And while condemning the cases of violence in Olu, the PPRO noted that the arrest of one Boniface Okeke, aged 57, who was allegedly linked to terrorism and financing of IPOB activities while he was outside the country. He assures that investigations are ongoing as the suspects are still under interrogation. And to fight against drug abuse, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, National Drug Law Enforcement Agencies, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, says about 17% of the people living in Ogun State engage in drug abuse and other substances. He stated this in Abeokuta during his advocacy visit to Ogun State. Governor Dakpo Abiodun. Anthony reports.
According to the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, NDLEA was part of its nationwide advocacy to NDLEA state commands in the country to appraise their activities for optimal performance, commending Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun for initiating policies capable of combating the menace in the state. The NDLEA board says the state can do more to assist the agency in carrying out its mandate effectively.
We have decided that we have to do barracks with the support of the federal government. And the first step will be to acquire land. So that request is going to come for land for the state command so that we can have barracks that will provide a secure and conducive environment.
Ogun State Governor Dakpo Abiodun, who presented operational van motorcycles to the command in the state, says his administration has been consistent in its approach to wage war against drug abuse and other substances.
The prevalence of drug abuse is highest in the southwest, and whatever it is we can do to partner with you to reduce this prevalence of drug abuse Your Excellency, you can take that for granted.
The chairman and chief executive officer of NDLEA had earlier paid homage to the Alaki and paramount ruler of Egba land, Oba Adedotun Aremugbadebo, for royal blessings, and later interfaced with officers and men of the Ogun State Command and other stakeholders on how to stem the tide of drug abuse in the country.
The federal government will no longer tolerate all unsustainable disposal of waste in Nigeria, as such a roadmap of extended producer responsibility is being drawn up by experts to aid the nation in enforcing global action against unsustainable disposal systems. Ikechukwu reports.
Taza, Ubo, and Olufonto Boroface are business executives. They have been waiting for a day for the national dialogue on the implementation of the National Environmental Regulations, especially the Extended Producer Responsibility Program.
The plastic bottle is the packaging that the company has used to sell you water. So the companies have to make plans in their product pricing and their product planning stages on how to mop up these plastic bottles from our environment.
Well, it's part of the, this new green growth that is happening, not just even Nigeria, but globally. And Nigeria needs to, be strategic and be part of that global trend.
This warm welcome for the Honorable Minister of State Environment, Sharon Ikazo, underscores the importance the National Environmental Standards and Regulatory Agency, NESRA, places on ensuring sustainable disposal system in Nigeria and its benefits.
Annual flood experience in most of our cities. Most of the waste are generated by households and in some cases by local industries, artisans and traders, which litter the immediate surroundings. The above scenario informed government to introduce policies and programs aimed at halting the devastation of the environment.
The federal government recognizes the importance of EPR and the benefits of EPR as well in the sustainable management of waste. And we have endorsed the efforts of NESRA to facilitate the implementation of the scheme.
Once a blueprint is drawn, Captain of Industries will be responsible for disposal of their products in line with global action against unsustainable environment. In Abuja, Ikechukwu, NTA News.
The ECOWAS Parliament has resolved to engage stakeholders to implement elimination of roaming and termination charges levied by some member states, rising from its delocalized meeting in Ghana. Parliament also recommended improved telecommunication and information technology infrastructure to promote economic development and combat crimes. Onenge Fineface tells us more.
Key outcomes of the ECOWAS Parliament Joint Committee meeting in Winneba, Ghana include recommendations for the ECOWAS Commission to publish roaming tariff ceilings by regulatory agencies of member states, ensuring mobile operators in the region comply with ECOWAS regulations on roaming, and ensuring that member states implement free regional roaming as approved by the Council of Ministers in December 2017.
To assist member states on the domestication and transposition of community tax on TITs, and specifically the directive on fighting against cybercrime, the Supplementary Act on Electronic Transactions, and as well as the Supplementary Act on Personal Data Protection within the ECOWAS region.
Parliament, on its part, vowed to work with relevant stakeholders to address threats and risks facing global cyberspace and digital networks.
These threats and risks are part and parcel of development, and we as a parliament need to ensure that we support national cyber security and anti-cybercrime organizations, critical digital services and infrastructure, as well as regional mutual assistance and international cooperation.
All interventions and recommendations from the Winneba meeting will be presented at plenary for further legislative action. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
News at 10 is reaching you live on NTA News 24. There will be more reports after this time out. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at some political stories. As Governor Mai Mala Buni led All Progressives Congress Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee says it will not accept results from parallel ward congresses. John James Akpaneduduehi, National Secretary of the Caretaker Committee, disclosed this while speaking on NTA's political update. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
The conduct of APC World Congresses across the country is in line with the Caretaker Committee's mandate to rebuild the party, reconcile aggrieved party members, and elect executives into its elective offices. July 31st World Congresses commenced the crucial role of giving the party new leaders, starting from the ward levels. This, the National Secretary, APC Caretaker Committee, John James Akpaneduduehi, says meets the requirements of the party's constitution with assurance that only results from authorized party electoral committees are authentic.
If you are dissatisfied, don't break the law. Wait until we set up the panel, which is coming next week. That panel will recommend, if we are going again to do the congresses in those places, it's not for you to flout the law or the decision of NEC. We will not tolerate that. Ours own business is not personal. It's to implement the decision of our leaders or the decision of NEC. That's what we do.
He urged party faithful to remain firm and have confidence in the rebranding process by the Caretaker Committee as mandated to it by the National Executive Committee of the party. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And all seemed not to be well for the Prince Uche Secondus-led National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party following the resignation of 7 national officers of the party this Tuesday. Let's get details from Timothy Yusuf.
7 deputy national officers made up of Diron Odeyemi, Deputy National Publicity Secretary, Ahmed Bello, Deputy National Legal Advisor, Umaru Hatizat, Deputy National Women Leader, Divine Amina Arong, Deputy National Auditor, Hassan Yakubu, Deputy National Organizing Secretary, and Irona Alfonsos, Deputy National Financial Secretary, resigned their positions, citing what they described as bad treatment exhibited by the PDP National Chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, since the election that brought the current leadership of the party to power in 2017. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Kola Olobodion, reacting to the development, says a committee is already revived to address the issues.
The conflict resolution mechanism of our party has already been activated. So let us wait for the outcome of these resolutions.
The media assistant to the national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, Ike Aboni, also reacts.
I want to correct something. Those who resign are not members of NWC. They are members of NEC, but not members of NWC. The structure of the party is intact, and Prince Secondus is national chairman. And anybody who resigns will be filled the next day.
The national youth leader of the PDP, Ude Ukoye, however, shares a contrary view.
Mr. Uche Secondus, the national chairman of the party, is incompetent of managing the affairs of this party. He lacks managerial capacity to manage PDP.
From the National Secretariat of the PDP in Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party's Governors Forum says it has received with regrets and sadness the recent rumblings in the PDP. A statement from the chairman of the forum and Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, called on all members of the party and stakeholders to remain calm in the face of the developments. He pleads with all aggrieved persons and those with the interest of the PDP at heart to keep their gunpowder dry. His efforts are being made in consultation with members of the PDP Board of Trustees and other stakeholders to resolve all contending issues. To this end, the PDP Governors Forum has scheduled an emergency meeting to discuss the affairs of the party and the way forward. The Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, has applauded his Niger State counterpart for embarking on people-oriented projects, as well as prompt payment of salaries to public servants in the state. He gave the commendation after inaugurating 4.3 kilometers Boso Estate Road network in Mina, the Niger State capital. Hussaina Musa reports.
It became necessary for the Abubakar Sani Bello-led administration to reconstruct and rehabilitate some township roads. The Boso Estate 5 roads network, which was initially constructed in the late 1980s, was selected to improve its aesthetics and serve as alternate link to other neighborhoods, aid traffic flow, as well as improve the socio-economic status of the residents.
A very good job, and it was done in record time.
The entire estate's security have been beefed up.
We that have been living in this estate, we know how the condition of the estate road was. So now we are grateful.
In an effort to close the infrastructural deficit, especially in the urban areas, the state government embarked on urban renewal program.
In 2015, I took time to drive around Boso estates, and I noticed the difficult conditions under which residents there had to live with. From that moment, I decided something must be done.
It's important for those who reside there to also protect this road on behalf of themselves and on behalf of the people.
The projects were funded under the federal government Infrastructural Development Support Fund given to states as a result of the fall in the price of crude oil and increased running costs in 2015. In Mina, Hussaina Musa, NTA News.
Away from that, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is to receive detailed data of the student population from the National Board for Technical Education as part of efforts to make Nigeria's revenue sharing formula to all tiers of government transparent and efficient. This was part of the thrust at a meeting between Chairman Indices and Disbursement Committee of the Commission, Dr. Chris Akomas, and Executive Secretary, Professor Idris Bugajin Abuja. Let's get details from Olusegun Adiagbo.
Having authentic data that will help in making evidence-based decisions during revenue sharing, especially as it concerns governments at the sub-national level, has been making members of the Indices and Disbursement Committee of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to meet with relevant actors proficient in data generation. For Dr. Chris Akomas, a national educational supervisory body overseeing tertiary and secondary institutions as well as technical colleges such as the National Board for Technical Education (NTA) will be of help to his commission, especially as it relates to the student population.
Our job is to make sure that the data used in taking these decisions are authentic, they can stand the integrity test. Since one of the projects, very important one for that matter, is student population, we place what comes from you side by side what we have received from the states and local governments to be able to arrive at an informed decision.
The Executive Secretary of the NBTA promises the readiness of its agency to provide the necessary support.
We have quite a good number of statisticians, so they always monitor the entire TVET sector, all the institutions that we give licenses, and we also monitor the figures, the students' population, the way it's growing, so we can easily facilitate this data to your committee so that it can help you.
Discussions also centered on how the two bodies can consolidate on their existing relationship through setting up of a technical committee for continued engagements. In Abuja, Olusegun Adiagbo, NTA News.
And still on economy, the Board of Governors of International Monetary Fund, IMF, has approved a general allocation of special drawing rights, SDRs, equivalent to $650 billion to boost global liquidity. IMF's Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, in a statement said it is the largest allocation in the history of the IMF and a shot in the arm for the global economy at a time of unprecedented crisis. The SDR allocation will benefit all members, address the long-term global need for reserves, build confidence and foster the resilience of stability of the global economy, saying it will particularly help most vulnerable countries struggling to cope with the impact of the COVID-19 crisis. The general allocation of SDRs will become effective on August 23, 2021. The newly created SDRs will be credited to IMF member countries in proportion to the existing quotas in the fund. About $275 billion SDR of 193 billion of the new allocation will go to emerging markets and developing countries, including low-income countries. Our OPEC Secretary General Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo has met with Mohammed Ali Bag, ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Abuja, head of the Secretary General's visit to the Islamic Republic to attend the inauguration of President-elect Ibrahim Raisi. And the OPEC Secretary General is slated during the visit to hold meetings with officials of the incoming government, as well as with Bejan Namdar, the Islamic Republic of Iran's outgoing Minister of Petroleum and head of its delegation to OPEC. The amended Finance Act 2020 has recognized the Nigerian Postal Service as the statutory authority to produce and collect stamp duties in Nigeria. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports that this is coming as the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy unveils the official NIPOS revenue stamp.
This is the official unveiling of the NIPOS revenue stamp. The new NIPOS Transport and Logistics Company Microfinance Bank has some revenue sources on the way, which the Minister of Communication says are efforts to upgrade the agency.
In addition to that, we also have a plan of NIPOS Property and Development Company. This is a company that will bring together all the properties of NIPOS to develop them and make sure that government is generating revenue from them.
The bill to repeal the Nigerian Postal Service Act and reenact the Nigerian Postal Commission as past third reading of both chambers.
Through stamps, NIPOS has documented Nigeria's history, educating and preserving our national heritage, among others.
With the unveiling of the revenue stamp, NIPOS is finally free from all forms of constraints to execute its mandate for better service delivery. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24, reaching you live from our studio in Abuja. We take a break now. More reports shortly.